I never expected to be here. I never knew there were options and that I could be ambitious. I never articulated who I wanted to be, and I couldn't think of the first step how to get there anyway. Everything I did, I just kind of fell into. Why graduate high school? I thought I'd be a waitress all my life. I didn't need high school. Now, here I am, urging youth to stay in school, challenging them to set real goals and stretch, reach higher than ever they thought possible. Sometimes I marvel at how I got here. After years of being on the road, hitching rides, sometimes in 18-wheelers with sharp scissors in my back pocket to fend off the truckers. I learned how to drive stick in a surprise Kentucky blizzard, since the driver who picked me up was too drunk to see straight through the snow. I'd heat one-pot meals over sterno cans by the railroad tracks with the winos, who taught me that newspapers were the driest, most comfortable thing to sleep on outside. The first time I ran away, I called home to let them know I wouldn't be coming back. I was in the phone booth in New Jersey on a boardwalk by a beach. My mom answered and asked, "Where are you?" And I couldn't just say, "I'm not telling." So I opened the phone book and pointed my finger to an address and read it to her. She said, my dad was already angry as hell, and if I didn't come home soon, he'd beat the crap out of me. I was 14. I didn't think he'd beat me, but I was scared of him. I had crossed a line, and now I couldn't come home. So I smoked some hash with the group of hippies my girlfriend and I met. I grew paranoid in their apartment, listening to Jimi Hendrix play Foxy Lady. I ran out of there and wound up sleeping in the bushes by the boardwalk. My parents and some cousins and their friends came looking for me. Unknown to me, the random address I gave them was a whorehouse. I think they were relieved when they stopped by there and found out that no one there knew me. That first time, I stayed away almost a month. I see the youth in Adelante now, those that ran away or on their own. Are they staying somewhere safe? Do they have an adult who cares about them? Does someone care enough to search for them? I believe in the wholeness of people. We have it all in here, inside, and we spend our lives unfolding, grasping, gaining bits and pieces of who we are, glimpsing our greatness, sensing our essence. I believe that, like Oscar Wilde said, you'd better be yourself because everyone else is taken. So here I am, daily struggling to unfold with others who are also becoming themselves while they are struggling to survive. It's a tightrope walk. It's swinging through the shadowy jungle at night from vine to vine, high above the ground. It's biting into a juicy, crisp apple. It's catching my breath on the top of Baldy, having been almost blown over by the wind. It's spanning a large view of distant green hills and hawks swooping towards the ground. People ask me, why do you do the work you do? Or, you're just so good. And sometimes I really react to that. I am not a do-gooder. This is my community, and everyone in it is my community. I have to help transform it. And in doing so, I become transformed by everyone. This work makes me question my assumptions about people always, and it gives me the right to question others' assumptions and prejudices. You see our adolescent boys with their baggy jeans, the looks on their faces, unaffected and tough. If you got past the gangsta image, you would often find soft-spoken, thoughtful voices. The teenage girls with their blue nails and tight short skirts with hardened eyes that could stare right through you. They might seem hostile, but when they open their mouths, they say, "I want to be a chemical engineer," or "I'm getting a job this summer to help my family." Each day is filled with crisis. A mom trying to safely retrieve her children's belongings to take to Esperanza, the domestic violence shelter. A dad desperately seeking work before the family loses a small mobile home that he's been faithfully paying on the past 9 years. Grandparents grieving the loss of a grown child while caring for their young grandchildren on a Social Security check too small to cover the bills. An auntie with her own children caring for her sister's kids who were abandoned due to untreated drug addiction. A teen who must leave the violence in her family, but is frightened to be on her own without any supportive or loving adult. A mom attempting to provide food and shelter for her family on $300 a month and living with the pain of cancer. A 5-person family living in 1 bedroom of a mobile home with a baby that has no room to crawl and develop appropriately. A family whose dad was deported and the mom is willing to work at any job but can't find one to support her 4 children. She recently had surgery and her water and electricity are disconnected, while 2 of her children suffer from fevers without any comfort food, in fact, any little food in the house. Every day, I learn more about survival, about resiliency, about how love and faith pull people through the worst nightmares, including death. I cry and laugh easily. I love and my heart breaks. I go home and eat chocolate and whipped cream. I unload my sorrows and sometimes just need to zone out, not answer the phone. No self-help books for me, only mysteries or science fiction. Maybe a utopian novel or a book about making paper. Our core team of 6 people is close, and yet sparks fly regularly. I often say I work with the most amazing, beautiful, fiercely independent, and eccentric people in the world. We know each other well, but we don't use it against each other. We give a lot of slack, knowing what work everyone does daily. We make up little nicknames for each other. I have a picture hanging on my wall of a mythical figure that I like to try to emulate, La Luchadora. She breastfeeds all babies in need. She doesn't suffer violence or machismo. She has more strength in her left pinky than we have in our whole bodies. She has courage and is brave enough to do whatever it takes to protect all the children surrounding her. She's my hero. I wish nobody hit or abused or ignored their children. I wish our government paid as much attention to feeding the children as they do to cutting taxes for big business. I wish our community had the will to provide housing and food and treatment for all the children and families and everyone who needs it. I wish the people who complain about immigrants using up our resources could remember where their ancestors came from. I wish my arms could reach around all of our children like La Luchadora's, long, strong, muscular arms to hold in the love and peace, to ward off the hunger, freezing weather, and violence.